So we've got Ben here. We're basically going to be breaking down the exact systems and processes and everything we implemented into Ben's coaching business to basically take him from selling coaching programs at $50 a week, not having any high ticket infrastructure in place, to basically scaling up to his first 30K month in essentially the first 30 days of initially launching his high ticket offer. So before we get into it, Ben, if you could just describe like basically who are you and what it is you do exactly.
Yeah, cool. So I'm Ben, obviously. And I run a online coaching, fitness coaching business. So I've been in the coaching space for the better half of 8 years. And this year I kind of took a bit of a leap. I was doing face to face, and I had some coaching online that was doing really well at the 50 goals before I started work with Arran. And essentially I just took the leap of faith, and my followers on socials were kind of interacting with what I was doing. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to take the leap of faith and give this a red hot crack. So I did that at the start of this year, and it was good. But there was no structure. There was no, like, I didn't really know what to do. So I reached out to Arran, and yeah, he's pretty much summed up what we've done in the first 30 days. And he's given us systems, and it's just flowed from there pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. And so you first started the online at the start of the year, right?
Yeah, it was about February-ish.
And basically from February to when we built out the high ticket offer, maybe like the middle of June.
Yeah.
How was it doing then in terms of like literally just online sales? Like if you don't mind sharing, like just you can give a rough number, like where were you at in terms of like
So
let's just say new monthly revenue.
yeah, so I was probably doing not much, to be honest. It would have been around like the 5 to 7K ish roundabouts. In cash collected. So, and like, because we like everything was weekly installments, so cash collected was essentially our revenue as well. But yeah, so it wasn't much. Like, we were definitely doing well below 8K a month, pretty consistently. I didn't fully get off the floor until probably end of May, I think it was, when I left the floor, and I was like, I'm gonna dive in and do this 100% full time. So yeah, I was doing on the floor and online, half and half at the start of this year till about that end of May. But yeah, it wasn't much. It was about 5 to
Nice.
7K.
Is that in Australian dollars or US? Australian, so it's probably like 5K US. I mean, I'm not doing the conversions,
Yep.
but let's just say like on average maybe 5K US.
Yep.
In new monthly revenue with just the low ticket and no like infrastructure in place. If you could just tell people listening, like out of your own mouth, obviously I mentioned at the start, but how and roughly, because obviously I'm going off. So when we launched the high ticket offer on the 5th of August to a couple of days ago, we just crossed. I mean, you can like what's the growth been like in terms of new monthly revenue coming into the coaching business now?
Yeah, like before I sat down with you, like I was undercharging. Like I knew what my price wanted to be, and I didn't have the systems. I was pretty, like, I wouldn't say I was shit, but I wasn't that good at sales and tracking, and even down to the point of like tracking calls and how much we're making per month and all that stuff was pretty downside. So when we started working with you, the first thing we did was build out all the systems. So you helped, well, you pretty much did it all for us. You did the VSL, build out all our landing pages, booking links, emails, all that stuff, to a point where it actually looks like a business is.
Yeah, like an actual business.
Yeah. A business is talking to someone. So that, just in that alone, we saw some massive growth in the first couple of weeks, before we even did the launch. When we were just testing a few things on the back end or the start of August, we saw some massive growth. And then once we implemented a setter, and then ran the launch, it was just like, I think in the first week we booked like 15 to 20 calls, which to me, that was crazy. And then, yeah, since then it's been just pretty much nuts. We haven't had a quiet week since. We've been booking plenty of calls, which has been great. Just in August alone, we did, when did we launch? Was it the 5th of August?
So it was August 5th. Yeah.
Yeah. So we did, just in the first few weeks of August, we did 20K revenue. And then including the last week of August and then up till the 5th of September, which concludes the month, we did 31K.
And to make 31K with the old structure that you had, charging $50 a client, like it would be insane. So could you just touch on like what did your process look like in terms of generating those clients who were paying on a week-to-week basis at a low ticket? And if there wasn't that much systems you can even talk about, I mean, you could even just talk about the difference between a low ticket versus a high ticket client, like how much easier it is on the fulfillment side, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. So like the systems we had in place, there wasn't a system, to be honest. I had a checkout page. So it was like a link. They went to a page. I just kind of said, this is the company, this is what we do, and then a checkout page. So that was the system. We had two offers running at that time. We had an $18 Australian a week, so about $12 US, and then we had a $75 Australian, which was like my high ticket at the time. Which is about $50 US. So we were running those, and they just had checkout pages. So honestly, the only way I would get clients is I would do a story and just say, "Hey guys, got 2 spots open," or running a challenge, and then clients would hopefully go to the checkout page and pay. Which I had a few do that, but it wasn't consistent. It was hard to systemize and hard to get. Like I didn't know what I was going to look like week to week. And then with the low ticket, like the low ticket style, clients were really difficult. People can anyone can just throw out $12 or $50 to do coaching. So from my end, it was like terrible retention rate, like in regards to people signing into the app, actually training and actually getting results, which was frustrating.
Yeah, and it's like that high ticket flywheel that we were speaking about.
Yeah.
How like when a client pays more, they're obviously going to pay more attention into your program, therefore get better results. And once we get better results, you can do client interviews like this. You can spam your stories with results and then a call to action at the end. Like everything just gets so much easier when the fulfillment is actually like dialed in. And you probably already answered this, but would you say like that was the biggest challenge before working with us in terms of like actually having an offer that was relatively like exclusive or like high ticket? Obviously having a high ticket offer is like one piece of the puzzle, but obviously the next one is generating interested leads to actually want to pay thousands of dollars even for a fitness program. So for context, Ben started off charging $50 a week. We basically put the prices up to $2K, and now it's at $3K in September, and the closing rate is even still sitting at like 40%.
Yeah.
Now at $3K. So would you say that was like the main challenge before working with us?
I honestly think it was a couple of things. Definitely like our pricing, like the clients I was bringing were very low quality leads. So I was like, I originally had my price at like 125 a week Australian, which is what I used to charge for like a face-to-face session. And I couldn't get anyone on that. Like no one was willing to pay that price. So like generating leads wasn't an issue, but it was quality of leads. Like they were just low quality, just didn't have any, like they just weren't willing to pay. Yeah, we were obviously charging the 3K, but yeah, I think it was just lead flow of quality, like quality lead flow was the big thing. That was definitely what was kicking us. And then too, just the system, like the system was a checkout page. Like it's just not very good. And I think too, just like as well, jumping in with yourself and then charging that premium. Like even when we first started at 2K, it was scary, if that makes sense. Like I'd never charged anything like upfront like that, if that makes sense, or on payment plans at that price. So for me, it was like when you said, "Oh, we're going to start at this," I was like, holy shit! Like there was a lot of resistance there, but you were just like, man, like it's cheap in comparison to, what some people in the fitness industry charge 15K for a program. And then when you said that, I was like, oh, okay, well, 2K is not crazy, but it also forced me to get out of my comfort zone and go, okay, well, I need to start training sales because I've never really taken sales calls. And I just pretty much handed that, and just handed the confidence in like even delivering that price, if that makes sense, was definitely a bit daunting at first. So having your guidance and, sending those courses through with the sales and stuff was game changer. Literally that in itself, I reckon has been the biggest change. Like it literally took me from, scared to ask for $50 to now like, well, our program's really fucking good and we're good at what we do. So, and just, it's been a game changer. Like, it's like I'm now charging $3K for the program. It's like I'm really confident in that price and delivering that. And we're, like you said, we're still closing at like 42% as our conversion rate, which is crazy to think about.
Exactly. And it's not even like you've necessarily done that much high ticket sales yourself. Like, obviously, as the founder, naturally your close rate is going to be higher, but even at 42% at 3K price in fitness, I would say it's pretty good. Even at the start of the month, we were doing like 50. And obviously, a lot of that has to do with, like, it is most of it organic, and there's a bunch of systems in the back end in terms of making sure the lead goes through a bunch of assets. But I spoke to a lot of guys in fitness who are charging like not a lot at all, like big guys as well. And obviously at the start you were like, oh yeah, taking the leap of faith. So obviously you weren't necessarily doing bad, like you weren't making zero, maybe sitting around like 5-ish K a month.
It just
so
wasn't
when
enough for us to live. Sorry to cut you off. It wasn't enough for us to, like, my partner, she works as a PT as well on the floor, and between her and I, like, when I was working on the floor, like the company I was working for before I went out on my own and started doing the online stuff, looked after me. Like, I was paid very well. And then doing that, and then doing the online stuff on the side, I was like, oh, like, there's heaps of cash coming in. So we had a lot of, savings and stuff. So I wasn't, but when I sat down with you that first time, I was like, holy shit, I need to make something work here. Cause it's like, we're just scraping by. In regards to, livelihood and making enough money to even cover bills was a bit scary. So when I reached out to you, it was like, if this doesn't work, then I'm screwed. But yeah, I knew I was in good hands when I sat down with you. Literally offered exactly what I was looking for in regards to that stuff. So yeah, that was huge.
Yeah, which leads me and obviously into the next question. When we first hopped on our first call or the first couple of messages, like, there was no hesitancy in terms of you moving forward. So like, what was it that made you want to like change something in your business or sign up for or like working with us? Like, what was it?
There was two things. One, like I said, quality of lead flow. I needed someone essentially someone that knew what they were doing in generating leads, and someone that was better than me. Like, I never DM said it before. I didn't even know that was a thing, to be honest with you. Before I sat down and watched your VSL, and I was like, okay, that is perfect. And I was like, I honestly, it was just kind of that thing of, you reached out to me and I was like, had a look at your stuff and I was like, that's literally exactly what I'm looking for. And to me, it's like, in business, a lot of people will be like, oh, I don't want to spend money. But it's like, to me, it's like, I want to pay people that are better than me at doing something to then generate us all cash flow. Like, I don't mind spending money on business to make money, if that makes sense. Like, I'm all hands in. So I think that's why there was no hesitancy, because it's like, even if you delivered at half of what you said you were going to deliver, I was like, even if we do half of that, it's like, I'm doing better than what I'm doing now. So it's like, it's a win-win for me. It's just a no-brainer.
If you've watched Alex Ramosi, he was like pretty much just spend all of his disposable income on like really cheap takeaway food, rent, and then just spent the rest on like education. Like, he spent his last like whatever, like $5,000 on learning how to pay run Facebook ads.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And then it's literally paid him like that other weekend, like however much, 70 million in a single day.
That's great.
And then just off the back of that, like, based on the results you've seen so far, where do you see your business in the next 6 to 12 months? If you could take an estimated guess.
I think in the next 6 months, like, we'll definitely, like, we're on track this month to beat last month already. We're over halfway to what we made last month, or just under. So, and that's only the first week of this new month, essentially. We're on track to do that roundabouts 40 to 50K this month. So it's like, if we just keep building on what we're doing and doubling down on systems that's working, it's like, I definitely see us at close to 75 or 100K in 6 months. Easily, like, I'm
100%. And then the idea is just to get that recurring as much as possible.
Yes.
And then just a second last question. Let's just say if there's another coach who was in a similar position to you, maybe like where you were at the start of June or the start of August before you launch high ticket, or it could even be a current coach who's selling high ticket.
Yeah.
Like, working with us aside, like, what would be what would be some advice you would give to them? Like, you obviously we've like worked in the back end and we've handled all the stuff, but at the end of the day, you're still the person who runs fulfillment and still pushes traffic to all the systems that we've built out. So, what would be like a piece of advice you would give a coach?
I've got a couple of things. First and foremost, back yourself. I think if you don't have the confidence to back yourself, you're never going to do well. And trust that what you're doing, with you guys obviously having that help behind, will work. You just got to trust. I always say you just got to trust the process. You might not see anything in the first week, but by week 4, systems are flowing and stuff. But I think in regards to generating leads, I always say to a lot of coaches, post content. Like, a lot of people be like, oh, I'm not generating leads and posting twice a week. It's like, dude, I don't care what anyone says. I've been making content for better half of 4.5, 5 years. I worked out the other day. Post every single day. That is what's going to generate you. Obviously, you got to be posting the right content, but that's what's going to generate you leads. Whether you've got 1,000 followers or you've got 1 million followers. Next thing is get good systems. Like that in itself, like, I reckon the first few months of me doing it, I reckon I've missed probably 150K in revenue total over those first 3 or 4 months before jumping on with you guys, like, easily. Like, if we're working at now 30K a month in our first 30 days, it's like, you work that out over 4 months, that's, 120K. And then my third thing is train yourself in sales. Actually do the training, actually do the work, like, on your weekends, during the week when you got a spare minute, like, role play with your partner, role play with your mum and dad, like, just do something so when you're getting on the call, you're confident to handle objections, you're confident to run through your sales script. I think if you can do those 3 things, the world's your oyster.
If you're sending out like 15% close rate to essentially double the business without any extra work, you just have to double your close rate to 30%, which shouldn't be too hard. And then obviously the last question that I've got for you, and by the way, that was good advice in terms of the marketing that we're doing, that you're doing in terms of content. Like, you're doing multiple posts on Instagram a week, more than 7 a week. YouTube Shorts, YouTube long form, I'm guessing TikTok as well. And then we're starting, as I said, we're starting with YouTube long form, and then we're also doing emails as well. So it's like the content is just like, it's just impossible not to generate new attention. And if you do it well enough, like, you won't really have to touch on ads until you get to like 50K-ish, and then you can just put fuel on the fire when you're at 50 or whatever. So if someone was on the fence about working with us, what would you tell them to basically get them over the fence?
You'd be stupid not to. That's as simple as it is. It's just like, there's no harm in getting extra help. Like, I feel like a lot of business owners are very what's the word? Like, not arrogant, but like, they're just so like, oh no, I've got to figure this out myself. It's like, why waste 6 months trying to figure it out yourself when you can just implement someone that knows exactly what they're doing, how to do it, and then you're getting results, in the first 30, 40 days. It's like, it's just, to me, that's just a no-brainer. I just don't, there shouldn't even be a discussion about that. It's like, you're just bettering your business. So
again, to quote Hormozy again, he has this thing where he goes like, someone wrote like $1 million on a whiteboard, and then he said to this woman in the audience, like, how much are you making? How much are you making a year now? And she says, I think it's like, I don't know the exact number. Well, let's just say it's 100K. So he has $1 million at the top, and then he writes 100K on the bottom. And obviously the difference of that is $900,000 a year. And he goes, what you don't know in terms of making $1 million a month, $1 million a year, is costing you $900,000 every single year. So it's like, you have to pay down your ignorance debt to learn how to. Your ignorance debt is basically costing you $900,000 a year, not knowing how to make, not knowing how to make $1 million a year.
Yeah.
So that's basically just what you said there. And that's coming from like probably one of the best business owners in terms of online and in person that we've probably seen like online at the moment.
I think just one thing, back on the sales thing, I think, because a lot of people obviously like, oh, I'm not good at sales, I don't want to jump on calls and this kind of thing. And at the end of the day, it's like, before we started working together, I'd never taken a sales call before. Like, I've took probably a couple, but didn't convert, like couldn't convert, like didn't have any structure. And I feel as though a lot of people are hesitant with this style of coaching because they don't want to jump on sales calls, or they don't feel as though they can convert on sales calls. And my biggest piece of advice is what I said before is just get into the program. Arran will take care of you. If you're not confident in your sales, he's got millions of resources to send out that, helped me massively. You're in good hands. Arran will take care of you. He's got, like I said, tons of free resources that help educate me. And, it's something saves you having to invest in other sales courses to get better, especially initially. Like, it's something you may have to do down the track, but yeah, it worked fine for me, like fantastically.
But yeah, man, I really appreciate you hopping on. If anyone wants to check out like the funnels that we're running or his content or even his coaching, what's your ads on like YouTube or Instagram or?
Yeah, so they're all the same across all socials. I was pretty lucky to grab those. So it's just at @BenMoore_coach.
Nice one, man. Thanks so much.
No dramas.